For the first time in several months, gas prices are on the rise again tonight. 8 News reporter Nate Eaton shows us how much they're going up.
6 cents may not seem like a lot, but that's how much more you're spending this week for a gallon of gas compared to last week. The good news is that you're still paying less compared to last year.
Prices are at about $1.57 per gallon.
It's been months since gas prices have gone up, but conditions around the world are causing the numbers to rise again.
Crude oil is going up right now because of the conflict going on the Gaza Strip right now, and also because there is an optimism for economic growth in 2009.
AAA says Virginia is the 13th cheapest state to buy gas, with prices sitting about 12 cents below the national average, a big difference compared to 12 months ago.
This time last year we were paying about $3.01.
Even with this week's 6 cents per gallon increase, experts don't think that gas prices will continue to grow.
You still have a slack of demand worldwide, and you're going to have the release of the year-end economic data, which certainly could dampen those prices and drop them back down.
So where's the cheapest place to get a gallon of gas? Well, on our website, we have a link comparing prices throughout the metro area. You can check that out at WRIC.com. In Chesterfield County, Nate Eaton, 8 News.
Chilly winter temperatures and rainy weather are creating a perfect mix for big road problems. Potholes. 8 News reporter Nate Eaton explains.
No doubt you've probably seen and maybe hit a few potholes as you've been out driving around, but just how do they get on the streets? Well, potholes are formed when water hits the pavement and then seeps through cracks. That water freezes, thaws out, and then breaks the road apart, and you end up with potholes like this. Well, these holes are keeping VDOT crews very busy. 8 News.
In other news tonight, big changes on the way for Virginia driver's licenses. 8 News reporter Nate Eaton shows us how we'll all be affected.
For the past 10 years, whenever you've gone to get a driver's license, it looks something like this. But within the next few months, things are going to be changing.
We're really excited about how it looks.
The Virginia driver's license is getting a makeover, and starting in March, new, more secure licenses will be handed out.
They're going to have images of Virginia Pride, the state capitol, and pictures of the dogwood.
The new licenses aren't just meant to look better, but will also be harder to duplicate, with grayscale images instead of color, a picture window visible on both the front and back, and a different type of printing.
The way your name is printed is in a swirl instead of just straight type. You know, that's difficult to alter.
The DMV is also changing the way your license will be processed. Your picture will now be taken when you arrive instead of when you leave, and all licenses will be produced in one location and mailed out to you later.
You'll turn in all your documents, give your documents back. If the application goes through, you'll get a temporary driver's license or temporary ID card to carry with your invalidated credential. And then in a week or so, you'll get your new license in the mail.
To get a more detailed look at the new licenses and for more information on the program, we have information on our website at WRIC.com. In Richmond, Nate Eaton, 8 News.
Dominion Power is making sure everyone stays warm during this cold spell. 8 News reporter Nate Eaton shows us how.
When temperatures drop and money is tight, some people can't afford to pay the bills, and they worry that their power will get shut off. But this week, that won't be happening here in Richmond.
If anyone...
Top story tonight, the burglaries in Powhatan County. They've happened over the last 6 months here in the areas that we've marked for you: Spencerwood, Shadow Creek, Maple Grove, and Chestnut Oaks. Tonight, 8 News reporter Nate Eaton checks in with residents.
This is about how dark it's been when dozens of cars in Powhatan have been burglarized. Now, the thieves would walk up these long driveways. They'd check if any cars were in the driveway, and then they wouldn't break any windows. No, nothing like that. They'd see if the door was unlocked, and then they would take anything they could get their hands on.
This is County School Board slashed that system's budget by $15.1 million. 8 News reporter Nate Eaton was at that meeting and shows us now how you'll be affected.
The biggest difference parents in the Hanover School District are going to notice with this $15 million budget cut is that the pupil-to-teacher ratio goes up in every classroom by 1 student. From peanut butter to crackers to cookies, all of these items have been recalled, and all of them are served at local schools. So what are districts doing to make sure your kids are safe from salmonella? Well, today I spoke with officials from Henrico, Richmond, and Chesterfield schools about the precautions that are being taken. Chesterfield County schools haven't been impacted by the recall because only Smucker's peanut butter is served in the district, and Smucker's has been on the safe list. Thus far, there's been no problems with the company. Richmond schools have been concerned about the salmonella outbreak. In fact, they went to the government's website to see the list of products that have been recalled. They tell me that none of these products on this list are served in any of their schools. And the Henrico County School District, peanut butter isn't even offered. In fact, nothing containing the nut is. The district wants to make sure that kids don't have any sort of allergic reaction, so they've taken all nuts off the menu. Representatives from all 3 school districts tell me they're closely monitoring the recall situation, and they will do whatever it takes to make sure your kids are safe while eating at school. In Chesterfield, Nate Eaton, 8 News.
Should be texting and driving.
It's very unsafe, and you see people on the highway all the time texting.
For the first violation,
To support public education, 8 News reporter Nate Eaton explains.
this classroom, like all others in the Chesterfield School District, is facing budget cuts this year. In fact, you can compare the budget to the school box full of crayons, with each crayon representing $1. Normally, the district functions on this many crayons, but this year, a large portion of them have been removed. Well, it's these ones that have been removed that these parents care about.
John, tonight fans across Richmond are cheering for VCU in the NCAA tournament against UCLA. 8 News reporter Nate Eaton is live at Banditos tonight. He may be able to give us a report. Nate, go ahead.
Oh boy, Juan, talk about a party. They're cheering on their team. These guys came around 6. Why are you here tonight?
We're here to see the Rams kick UCLA's butt.
Okay, how's the score going so far? They're behind a little.
It's not going so good in the first half, but Eric Manor is clutch in the second half. I am confident we're going to come back. We're going to spank UCLA.
Yeah.
No doubt in my mind.
That's right. Why are so many people here partying?
Because if you're a Ram fan, this is the place to be. That is right.
That's right. It's at Banditos down here on Patterson Avenue. You guys are pumped. They've been cheering all night. We're going to have a lot more on the game coming up tonight in sports. For now, Christina and Juan, back to you.
All right, thank you. The verdict in the Parrish trial brings more emotion to a grieving family. Welcome to 8 News at 11. Cousins Ethan and Joey Parrish have been found guilty of lesser charges of involuntary manslaughter and assault and battery for the death of Talik Taliaferro.
Ethan and Joey Parrish were originally charged with first-degree murder. The jury will resume deliberations on a recommended sentence for Ethan tomorrow morning. 8 News reporter Nate Eaton has the latest from today's proceedings.
Talik Taliaferro's family and friends are stunned.
What in the world?
After a jury finds Ethan and Joey Parrish not guilty of first-degree murder. Instead, they're convicted of involuntary manslaughter.
I was numb. I didn't know what to say.
Talik's grandmother raised him since he was 2.
You don't know what I'm going through. I cry every day.
Talik's mother was too upset to say anything, but his father is outraged.
They got away with murder, get spanked on the hand for it, and walk away in about 4 or 5 years and live their lives while my son is be gone for the rest of his life.
While the Taliaferros believe the verdict is unfair, the Parrish family says justice was served.
Thank you, Jesus. That's all I've got to say.
Joy's mom says her son was acting in self-defense the day he killed Taliaferro, and they are content with the verdict.
It just makes us happy, you know. Just the whole truth to finally come out.
The jury stopped deliberating around 6:20. Then they walked out of these doors. People on the street were yelling at them, but they had nothing to say. Anything you want to say, sir?
No.
Meanwhile, at the back of the courthouse, deputies sent away many of Taliaferro's friends who were waiting to see Ethan Parrish leave. Eventually, Parrish was led out in handcuffs, his family pleased.
The truth came out and everything's going to be okay.
While another family grieves.
I know where he at. He is in heaven. I know it. He's watching over me.
In Powhatan County, Nate Eaton, 8 News.
Welcome to 8 News at 4:30. Breaking news in Richmond. We are learning that crews are working to rescue 2 men trapped inside a trench. It's happening here in the 2700 block of Grantwood Court that's just off of Forest Hill Avenue. 8 News has a crew at the scene. Let's head out live there to Chelsea, Washington for the very latest. Chelsea?
That's right, Christine. And there were 2 contractors working on a sewer line out here. Now, when the trash collapsed, it was about 20 feet deep. And when another man, when one guy fell into the trench, someone jumped in after him to kind of rescue him. And the first guy that jumped in after the first one has come out. But we turn now to 8 News reporter Carrie O'Brien.
Hi there, I have more. I've been talking to fire.
And just into the day. And at one point, someone drove by and taunted 16-year-old Courtney Jones, a teen who was shot in the car with Taliaferro. Courtney says he snapped.
We know you know who I am. You see me? You see me, don't you? You see me?
After that confrontation, Courtney Jones spoke out for the first time about being shot, losing a friend, and the verdicts. 8 News reporter Nate Eaton has the exclusive interview.
9 months ago yesterday, Courtney Jones was shot in the back. You can see where the bullet entered there. That's the scar wound today. The bullet came out through his stomach. There's the scar with some staple marks. Now, Courtney says he doesn't only have physical scars, but emotional scars too.
I'm holding it up. I'm fine.
After going through several surgeries and having his intestines reconnected, Courtney Jones is glad to be alive.
Right now I'm fine, but sooner or later I could have some problems.
Courtney, who was 15 at the time, was with Taliaferro and 2 other friends on June 24th when Ethan and Joey Parrish shot up their car. The Parrishes were originally charged with first-degree murder, but this week a jury convicted them of involuntary manslaughter, something Courtney is trying to come to grips with.
Everything happens for a reason. Like everything happened to me for a reason, and everything happened to them for a reason.
Courtney's been among those protesting, saying the sentence wasn't right. Most passerbys have been supportive, but some have taunted and even mocked him.
Why do you think they're doing it?
I don't know. I really don't know.
In fact, this afternoon, Courtney's emotions overtook him when someone told him justice had been served. After remaining calm all day, he snapped.
It's just that one incident and saying justice has been served, and that just clicked in my head. Justice has not been served yet.
Courtney says he's living one day at a time, trying to move on with life, knowing Talik is with him.
I know he's upset.
Yeah, I know that.
I know he's upset, because he had a lot going for him. He knew it.
In Powhatan County, Nate Eaton, 8 News.
Welcome to 8 News at 11. Little yellow flags are popping up on Museum District sidewalks, chastising some dog owners. 8 News reporter Nate Eaton has the scoop.
With the weather warming up, more people seem to be taking their dogs on walks. Unfortunately, some of these pooches are leaving behind little presents. Well, one group is so tired of all the crap that they're taking their message to the streets.
I realized that this was marking dog poop.
When Peter Fetto saw these yellow flags while running, he thought they were posted for surveying work. But on a closer look,
I realized this was no ordinary surveying work. This was poop surveying.
Yeah, you heard right. Flags pointing out poop on the streets all over the museum district. On those flags, well, we can't say everything that's written.
Some A left this here.
But the smelly situation is calling out those who don't clean up their pets' messes.
Wow, I had no idea that there were so many irresponsible dog owners just letting their canines defecate throughout the streets.
It's unclear who's behind the poop patrol, but some think the flags are too dirty.
But I just wish that they were a little bit more appropriate for the neighborhood. I think it's kind of unfortunate if a kid sees it that's able to read what it says.
And while the signs do create a little potty humor, most dog owners say not cleaning up a mess is no laughing matter.
I think it's gross not to. I don't know why people wouldn't.
And flags shouldn't have to be posted to remind people to do their duty.
If you don't want to step in something, please pick it up.
In Richmond, Nate Eaton, 8 News.
Going on.
Dominique Brandon works next door at Pizza Hut and had no idea the machines were inside the restaurant.
Never even seen them, never noticed them. I mean, I've came here a couple of times myself to get food, never noticed them.
Taylor isn't the only person in trouble with the law. 64-year-old Massey Childress is accused of providing the slot machines to the restaurant.
Both men are being charged with conducting an illegal gambling operation.
And heard shots fired inside a building. 2 bodies were found inside. A campus lockdown has now been lifted. Dozens of people gathered today when Virginia Tech reopened the section of Norris Hall where 30 people were killed by gunman Sunwee Joe nearly 2 years ago. 8 News reporter Nate Eaton was in Blacksburg for the ceremony.
2 years ago, one of the most horrific and violent acts happened here on the second floor of Norris Hall. Well, now the hall has been transformed into a Center for Peace Studies and Violent Prevention. Today was a day all about hope and courage and moving forward in the future. Coming up tonight at 6 o'clock, we'll show you some of the renovations that have happened here and also talk with people who were here in this very hall the day the tragedy happened. For now, reporting at Virginia Tech, Nate Eaton, 8 News.
Tonight, Virginia Tech's Norris Hall is fully open for the first time since the deadly shootings there back in 2007.
Dozens of people gathered for the ceremony just a week before the 2-year anniversary.
8 News reporter Nate Eaton has more from Blacksburg.
In just one of the rooms that experienced death 2 years ago, today there's a new feeling of life as the second floor of Norris Hall reopened to a commitment to move forward and never forget.
It took courage to reoccupy this building. It took courage to look at our demons in the eye and vanquish them.
Ishwar Puri is head of the Engineering, Science, and Mechanics Department. He was in his office on the morning of April 16th, 2007.
Well, these were 9 terrifying minutes.
Puri was one of dozens who gathered for the reopening of the second floor of Norris Hall. He believes the new wing will bring hope to everyone.
But today is a milestone. It's a recognition that we have reached a certain point. And that certain point is full reoccupation of Norris Hall.
John Welsh's French teacher was killed in the massacre that morning. He will now serve a vital part in the Center for Peace Studies and Violence Prevention Unit.
It's almost like a living memorial or a living tribute to those who passed away that were coming together in this exact space.
Now, Norris Hall is open for the public to go in and look around, and students should begin using the area within the next few weeks. Reporting at Virginia Tech, Nate Eaton, 8 News.
Today, the second floor of Norris Hall reopened at Virginia Tech.
And the engineering building will also be the home for the university's Center for Peace Studies and Violence Prevention. Nate Eaton has more from Tech.
The Engineering, Science, and Mechanics Department has changed quite a bit within the past 2 years, and that's what today's ceremony was all about, change. You can see that the classrooms and the labs have new sinks and counters, all of this in an effort to move forward.
People are really hesitant to come here for obvious reasons.
John Welsh's French teacher was one of 30 people killed on Norris Hall that day.
Everybody loved her. She treated us sort of like family.
He is now working to keep her memory alive, joining dozens of others at the opening of the Center for Peace Studies and Violence Prevention.
We want to make something positive out of it. It's almost like a living memorial or a living tribute to those who passed away that were coming together in this exact space.
It's been a somber 2 years.
Professor Ishwar Puri was in his office the morning of the shooting. He lost several of his students and close faculty friends that day, and he believes the new center will help everyone move on.
I was defeated on April 16th, 2007 by the suicide assassin, and I pledged myself that he was never going to defeat me again, that I would be able to vanquish the demons that were in my mind and help vanquish those that were in the minds of others.
Now, Norris Hall is open for the public to go in and look around, and students should begin using the area within the next few weeks. Reporting at Virginia Tech, Nate Eaton, 8 News.
If you haven't filed your taxes yet, you don't.
Years ago today, 27 students and 5 Virginia Tech faculty members were killed by a student gunman. Events are being held all day to honor the victims. 8 News reporter Nate Eaton is there.
All day long, there's been a steady stream of people walking by 32 Stones here on the Virginia Tech campus to remember the lives that were lost 2 years ago today. You can see behind me that there's other students eating lunch and hanging out. It's all part of a day of remembrance, and a memorial service was held today to remember those lives. Coming up tonight at 6 o'clock, hear what was said at that service. Also, we'll talk with students who were here the day of the shooting. For now, reporting at the Virginia Tech campus, Nate Eaton, 8 News.
And
now our top story. 2 years ago today, 27 students and 5 faculty members were killed by a student gunman at Virginia Tech. 8 News reporter Nate Eaton is in Blacksburg with more now on the Day of Remembrance.
All day long, people have been walking by this memorial candle as part of a day of remembrance here at Virginia Tech. Earlier this afternoon, a ceremony was held to pay tribute to the 32 people who died that day.
We've searched for purpose and direction to help us calm that turmoil in our hearts and minds.
A sea of maroon and orange on the Virginia Tech campus drill field as thousands turn out to remember.
We have all drawn strength from the powerful and absolutely amazing spirit of community within this Virginia Tech family.
That large family quietly listened as biographies of those who passed away 2 years ago were read, including Matthew Gwaltney of Chester.
Honest, generous, and intelligent, a valued role model and mentor.
And Rachel Hill from Glen Allen.
Always prepared and always diligent, dedicated to glorifying God in all she did.
For some, today is extra personal.
My family is deeply affected by this. We live with it every day.
Omar Samaha's sister was killed while in French class in Norris Hall.
I remember her sense of humor and all the funny times that we had together.
Omar and many others at today's event say this memorial isn't just for them, but a reminder to everyone about how important each day is.
I just miss her presence, and I mean, she brought a lot, and that's something you really don't notice until someone's gone.
At Virginia Tech, Nate Eaton, 8 News. Flowers, poems, cards, and letters surround 32 stones at a memorial here at Virginia Tech. Today there's a feeling of sadness and hope on the campus as they hold a special day of remembrance.
Every single day is a struggle just to try to live and deal with what happened on April 16th.
Omar Samaha's sister Rima was in French class the morning her life was taken.
She definitely was someone I looked up to, even though she was my younger sister.
Omar and his family are among thousands who gathered today to pay tribute through music and speech.
We continue our journey in search of peace in our hearts and in our world.
Students who would normally be in class reverently remembered their fallen classmates and vowed to become more united.
I just love being Hokie, and it's a great school here, and we've all come together after this horrible experience.
Former students also played a part, like Michael Eck, who's a member of the Richmond Virginia Tech Alumni Center.
Any Hokie, past, present, and future, will certainly agree with me on that Virginia Tech's definitely one of a kind.
For Eck and many others, today's events help them to move on and never forget.
Within our grief, we find strength to try to create positive change.
At Virginia Tech, Nate Eaton, 8 News.
We're told no.
News reporter Nate Eaton takes a closer look.
Check out this big 46-year-old tree completely uprooted during this afternoon's storm. You can see just how big it is. This was just one of the things damaged today.
It was calm at first, then all of a sudden it started getting windy.
This is what the storm looked like before it hit.
It started raining a little bit, wind come up and it started hailing like you ain't never seen it.
And this is what it left behind.
And when I got home here, I come home to this mess.
Matthew Russell is grateful this tree didn't land on his house.
We're still waiting on the power company to come out so that we can get that there removed, off my power line.
Across the street,
the yard looked like it snowed. That's how white it was.
The crows watched. First the wind, then the rain, then the hail.
You couldn't even see across the street.
Rain gutters torn from homes, trash cans litter the streets, and a huge tree ripped from the ground.
I wouldn't even think it was going to come out of the ground. I didn't think it was going to be that bad.
And the cleanup continues tonight at this home and many others across the area. You can see that this tree came crashing down onto the roof, taking some power lines with it. Fortunately, nobody was hurt. Reporting tonight in Hopewell, Nate Eaton.
And award contracts.
Authorities plan to do 3 things with the $2.7 million. First, replace all equipment here at the government center and at other buildings across the county. The second way the county plans to use the money is to remove energy using light bulbs like this one and replace them with more energy efficient bulbs like this one. The third way the county plans to spend the money is to more closely control the climate in different rooms and buildings. For example, an administrator could sit in his own front room and with a laptop change the temperature or turn the thermometer off in a building halfway across the county.
GPS systems are growing in popularity, but this morning in an 8 News investigation, reporter Nate Eaton exposes the dark side of the GPS and how it can put your family at risk.
If you don't know where you're going, a GPS is the thing to have. Punch a couple buttons, hit go, and you're on your way.
Turn left.
But behind these handy little gadgets
We're seeing a spike this year.
Is a big warning.
People are busting their windows and stealing those items.
And not only are criminals stealing them, some are also grabbing the garage door opener, pushing go home on the GPS, and driving to the person's residence, then burglarizing the house.
It's really a crime that doesn't take long to commit.
We wanted to see just how easy some criminals have it. We're in the Channel 8 parking lot. This car right here is our target. We're going to take the GPS, we're going to take the garage door opener, and we're going to see how far we get. Using another car, I hit go home, and bingo, we're on our way. It's about 1:52, and it says we'll arrive at our destination around 2:04.
About 10 minutes later,
we are pulling up here.
We arrive.
We are here, and now we're going to see if the garage door opens. And it is opening.
We didn't go inside, but very well could have.
So, just how common is it for people to leave their GPS in their car?
To find out, we went to several parking lots: Walmart, Target, Gold's Gym, VCU, places people might stay for a while. Within minutes at one lot, we spotted not one, not two, but 9 systems sitting in the dash.
I'm with Channel 8 News.
We decided to wait for the drivers of some of those cars.
How you doing, sir?
To warn them about what could happen.
They're taking them and hitting go home and going to the people's houses and burglarizing their homes.
Wow.
Do you hide them, though, when you go inside?
It's sitting right there.
This couple was in Walmart for over 20 minutes, long enough for a thief to strike and be on their way.
Now that I'm hearing about it, I think my GPS is going to be well hidden.
So you have one in your car?
Right, and it's up right now.
You keep it up all the time?
Yeah.
These guys say if their GPS was stolen, people in their family could be put at risk.
Her parents' house, my apartment, my parents' house. We got to take precaution.
And police say that's the bottom line.
You have to be very vigilant out here.
Lock valuables in your trunk and take everything from your car, making sure any sign of a GPS is gone.
If they see the suction cup of a GPS unit, they may believe that GPS unit is still in that car, so they may bust your window out.
It's a big way you can keep yourself from being a target while still enjoying the convenience of a modern-day luxury.
Arriving at destination.
Nate Eaton, 8 News.
Wow. 8:35 now. Friends and family. Well,